Hey guys. So lately, I have been having these amazing experiences where I've noticed the smallest prayers that I pray when I ask for things that just seem so small and just not very important, right? But they're specific. The Lord has been answering those prayers like crazy lately, every single one. And I've been so amazed at this. I've been writing it in my journal. I've been keeping track of all the prayers I've been praying and the answers as they come. And I just can't believe how simple it feels. I feel like I've gone a long time without being specific with my prayers because I don't know, I just felt like, well, these things aren't that important. The details aren't that important, right? I'm just going to pray for the main basic things. And it wasn't until recently I decided, why not? Why not ask, right? We're told to ask. Why not? So that's what I've been doing. And I've noticed that as I've been doing this, my prayers have been getting answered very specifically and fairly quickly. And I was reminded of this conversation that I had with my friend Beth last summer, so just a few months ago. And I loved the story of this miracle that she shared. And so I wanted to get that out and share it here. She gave me permission months ago, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But here it is, you guys. I love this experience that she had. It's so beautiful, so amazing, and just shows you how God is in the details. I'd love to hear, after you watch this video, any miracles that you've been experiencing in your life that you would like to share. Please put those in the comments down below. Um, I I would love to hear. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy today's Insight with Beth.
I wanted to share with you guys. We had this little miracle happen tonight, and it was so cool. And I'm still so blown away and kind of in shock by it. And I'm like, oh, I just want to tell somebody. We have been really busy because our car died on us it didn't die, but it started having major issues like 2 weeks ago. And we literally had just driven away from an appointment we had, and as we were pulling out of the parking lot, our car started making these terrible noises, and it sounded like the engine was just literally about to explode or something. We could not figure out what was happening. It was just kind of frightening. So we could only go about 15 miles per hour, and we pulled it into the closest shop near us, and then found ourselves without a car. So a friend came and got us, and then the next morning we got a rental car, and all the shops in town were like, it's going to be at least a week out before we can even look at your car. So we're like, okay. So we got a rental car for a week. We're looking up online. We're like, oh my goodness, it's going to cost a couple $100s to fix this. Well, a week later, news gets back to us that it's the transmission, and the transmission needs full replacement, and it is a $5,600 repair. That's before taxes. So it's $5,600 plus the taxes, which is 10%. So another $500 on top of that, plus labor, the cost of labor. So now it's gotten up into the 7,000s to fix the transmission in this car. And we were just like, oh my goodness, this was totally rug pulled out from under us, right? Because we had not expected that. We just did major repairs on this car twice in the last 6 months that were thousands and thousands of dollars, not 7,000, but we were just like, oh my goodness, it was just so discouraging. And then now we found ourselves needing to get a replacement car because we're a one-car family. So anyway, it has just been so crazy the past week. We've had this car for 9 years. So we went car shopping once a few years ago to try and find a farm truck, and the pandemic literally hit as we were in the middle of that, and so we just kind of gave up on it. And we've been okay as a one-car family. Every once in a while it's inconvenient, but now we have this rental car. But there's been some really, really cool miracles that have happened with the timing of everything. And tonight we could see the big picture and what Heavenly Father had in mind and why this was happening. And it's just been really amazing. So I wanted to share. So first off, one, like, they'd asked me to drive girls down to girls camp with our car, and we felt that we didn't really feel super good about it, again, because we're a one-car family. Me driving down would mean Rob and the kids do not have a car for a couple of days, which always we feel nervous about. Like, should something happen? You know, we've had something happen with our son before where we had to rush him to like an ER, an urgent care, right? And we are way out here in the country. Like, no ambulances are coming anytime soon. It's going to take them forever. So we don't really like that, like just leaving someone here without a car for days on end. And we just didn't feel very good about it. So I ended up saying no. Well, it was during that time, it was like literally the time we drove it out was when it broke, would have been the drive I had made to this camp. And it was like out in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, with nobody around. And it would have been, and I would have been by myself, and it would have been a disaster. Honestly, it would have been so stressful. So one, that was the first miracle that it happened with my husband in town, and close enough, like friends could come pick us up and we could get the car where it needed to be, and that kind of thing. That was miracle number one. Miracle number two is we went and rented a vehicle. Vehicle like rentals are pretty pricey, you know, right now, but not too overboard. Like, it was for a week, it was about $300 to rent this vehicle. And when we went back and said, hey, can we rent it again for another week because our car is apparently dead and now we have to find a new one, all the rental prices had gone way up. They had literally doubled in that 1 week. And I don't know if it's because like the housing market went down and the gas prices started shooting up all like at the same time, and that was when we needed it. And for whatever reason, this all made rental car prices double. So anyway, the point is, so that same vehicle was suddenly $600 a week, and that's how all the vehicles were. Like, they were really, really crazy, way over the price of what they were. But because we had started renting the week before, we locked in our rental price. So we got that same rental price extended another week instead of the new doubled price. And I was just like, oh my goodness, that was such a tender mercy. Like, if our car had broken down literally just 1 week later, we would have had these astronomical, like, for a rental car, you know. So I was like, oh my goodness, like, thank you, Heavenly Father, it broke down when it did, right? It didn't break down on our trip to Florida. I'm also very grateful for that. So anyway, just the timing of it, we're like, okay, this must mean we need to get a new car. And so we started looking around. Used car prices are, again, through the roof. I guess the new cars are really hard to come by because they need these certain chips, and they come from China, and China's like withholding them. My mom said there's been talk of like war to get these chips. So dealerships hardly have new cars, which means the used cars have like skyrocketed, like the need for them. So their prices have skyrocketed. So like literally, and so like that was a sticker shock to us because we haven't bought a car in 10 years. And last time we bought a car, you know, we got a 7-year-old used car, 70,000 miles. We were able to get it for under 10,000, right? That same kind of car, like a 7-year-old car for 70,000 miles on it, is going like $35,000 today. And so that was a huge shock for us. We were like, it's not even a brand new car, and it's like this astronomical amount. And so we have been frantically searching, like every spare moment we have. We've been looking online. Rob's getting off work early. Our entire Saturday was spent going to all these different car lots and all these different places, trying to figure out the right vehicle to buy for us. And it's been kind of a blow because we've been hoping to upgrade to 2 cars this year and have one car that's like the farm truck, you know, that you throw the hay in and throw the dogs in when they need to go to the vet, or, you know, that kind of thing. And then the other one be like the car I can get the kids around in, and I can give rides in, and that doesn't have hay sticking off the ceiling, getting in everybody's hair, you know. And it's been like the past year, we gave some rides to like some friends' kids, and it's so embarrassing. They're like, "Why is there hay on the ceiling?" I'm like, anyway, I just had some issues, and so this was kind of a major blow. We were gonna, like, how are we gonna afford 2 cars, right? When they're going for 20 to 35K, and the $20,000 ones, like vehicles, are like really old or a ton of miles on them. And anyway, it was just very stressful this week, and everything we test drove like didn't feel quite right, or just you guys, it's been so stressful. So anyway, I guess I should give you guys the condensed version. So so last night we test drove one, and the other thing is all these car dealerships where there's things available are like 45 minutes from us. So Rob has to get off work early, and we have to drive during rush hour traffic, so we get there an hour later, and then the dealership closes within an hour that we get there, and that's kind of the pattern we have to do every single day. And then it's a 45-minute drive back, and it's been really stressful for the kids, and it's like 109 degrees this week. Like literally that's what the heat index says that it says it feels like, and it's just been hard. So anyway, Rob was feeling really discouraged last night because we test drove a car yesterday, and everybody was like, I think it's pretty. It was a Honda Odyssey. It was a color we liked. It was like a navy blue. It seemed all right. It seemed good, and it was probably like the best we've done so far. And it was like $20,000. And we were like, oh man, that's like way more of a monthly payment we really wanted to do right now, out of the blue, like sticking this monthly payment on. Like we've been trying to reduce monthly payments and things. And anyway, it was just discouraging. And Rob was like, I'm trying to hold down 2 jobs right now, and every spare minute, instead of getting to work on the extra jobs and the work I need to be doing on the farm, like we are rushing out and having to spend all evening driving with these really high gas prices, trying to find these things. And he goes, and that vehicle is 45 minutes away. So that means tomorrow we're going to have to drive back. And then we're going to have to try and take it to mechanic to get it checked out. And like every single time we got to drive back and forth to this place that's far away. And he was just so discouraged by all of it. So I was like, okay, let me do some research today. And so I worked on his stuff, and I did research like all last night on other possible vehicles in the area that could work, right? The other thing is, like, this is so silly, but I've been really hoping for a car color I liked better, because we got this car years ago, and it was red, like a cranberry red, and I just have never really liked that color. And I was like, oh, it'll grow on me, but like 10 years later, it still kind of bugs me. So I was like, I really like to get a car color that doesn't bother me for 10 years, right? Obviously, that's not like the biggest requirement, but we've been trying to find something. So anyway, we went to go look for something today, because last night I saw there's this van and had really good reviews, and it's just like the Honda Odyssey, but instead of going for $20,000, it was going for $6,000. I was like, no, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, it was again another 45-minute drive all the way to like the IKEA out here. It's way down there. And we went to go test drive it. And when we pulled into the lot, we saw it. We were checking it out, and we saw this other car, and it was really cute. A good-looking car. And I was like, hey, Rob, that one's really cute. And it was like a little light silver color. And he goes, honey, that's our car. And I looked, and it's like our exact car we have now, the one that has the transmission broken. With I call it the Red Rocket. It was just like our Red Rocket, only this one was silver. And I was like, oh my goodness, you're right, that is our exact car. So we went and asked about it, and it was 2 years older than our car. So it's like 2005, right? And we're like, oh, it's probably going to be so beat up inside. Our car is so beat up at this point. And we went and looked, and it's like pristine condition. Like, it's amazing. And there's no like funky smells in it. And it's like leather seats, and it's like all these upgraded things in it, like that aren't in our car. We were like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And I was just looking at it and I was like, Rob, this is crazy. This literally has every upgrade I have wished for our car. And like, even to the point where I had even like said a prayer probably about 6 months ago and been like, Heavenly Father, I know this is so silly and probably not possible, but if we could get our car painted a different color, I would just really appreciate it. I was like, that's so silly. It's not a big priority, but it'd be so cool if we could at least get our car painted something nicer. And it was literally like, it was like our exact same car, but the colors were like things I liked. It was like a light silver on the outside. It was a really light gray interior, but it was exactly our car. And then it had just all these upgrades, like all these little feature upgrades inside, and it had a DVD player. So our current red car, when we went on that 2-month road trip on the East Coast last year, there started being like puddles of water forming in the back seat at my daughter's feet and at the driver's side feet, where literally we'd get in the car in the morning and there would be 1 to 2 inches of water on the floorboard where you're supposed to put your feet for driving. So we had to wear flip-flops. And so every morning after we checked out of a hotel, we would go to the local gas station and we'd vacuum up all the water that we could. And then we'd vacuum up the carpets as much as we could to get as much water out. And by evening and by the next morning, we were under 2 inches of water again. I mean, it was so crazy and it was so annoying. And it was like the car was starting to stink. I was starting to worry about mold growing. Like, oh, it was such an issue. And so, like, after a while into our road trip, we took it in, and they said it was being caused because of our sunroof. And the sunroof, like, collects water, which, by the way, our sunroof always leaked. And so when there was a heavy rain, we would always have drops of water falling on our head inside the car because of that sunroof. And so apparently the sunroof has, like, a tube that goes out the side of the car toward the bottom, and if it gets clogged, instead of letting water out, onto the pavement, it's going to put water inside your car, and that's what was happening. So we had to pay a lot of money, and we got it fixed, and then it just started happening again, like right before it broke. My daughter was like, Mom, the floor is getting all wet again, and she'd had some papers down there, and they were like destroyed, so anyway, that has been on our wish list, is to not have a stinking sunroof on our car because it has caused us so much stress over the last 10 years we've had this car with a sunroof. Well, this car, that's our same car, but a pretty color, doesn't have a sunroof. And in its place, it had a DVD player, which we were kind of hoping to have, like, upgrade to that. Because the long road trips we found were a little easier. We could play a Disney movie or whatever. So anyway, I was just like, oh my goodness, Rob, like, all these things I wished for, like, here they are. Like, the seats aren't torn up like in ours, and it doesn't have, like, the soggy floors, and it doesn't have a sunroof, and, like, it had a CD player. Our car didn't come with a CD player, and they had a CD player. We have a lot of CDs. We're old school. And it was just all these little things. And then finally I was like, but you know what, honey, I couldn't, because I've been seeing in all these cars, they have this little pop-down mirror so you can see your kids while you're driving. And that is, like, so valuable to me. I'm all the time talking to them while we're driving, and I can't see them. And I have to adjust my rearview mirror to see them, and then I can't see the road. So I'm like, the Freestyle, like, this type of car, doesn't have that option. And then while we were sitting in the Freestyle, I was messing with the stuff on the ceiling and popped down one of those mirrors. Like, I could not believe it. It was like, it was a whole, like, God is in the details type thing. Like, every little thing. And then another big thing is our current car didn't have a seat in the middle. It just had, like, 2 bucket seats in the back seat and then a third row. And we're always seem to be, like, 1 seat short when we're giving rides to friends. And I've always wished we got one that had a seat in the middle of the 2, like a 3-seater in the back instead of 2 seats. And this one has a 3-seater. I mean, it's literally, like, everything I have wished my car was improved on in this car. And then, on top of that, the price was the same price that we've been quoted for replacing our transmission, except for the taxes and the labor. So it was like $5,500. And we're like, okay, so we can either pour $5,500 into fixing our transmission, or we can get the exact same car with all the upgrades we've been hoping for probably about $2,000 less. So anyway, it was just like, I was literally like crying in the car. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, how much Heavenly Father had listened to my concerns and like my wish list, and just even the silly things, you know, like that aren't that big a deal. And like, here they all were in this car that was at a much more affordable price than the $20,000 car we've been looking at yesterday. So anyway, but the crazy thing with all this is Rob had just spoken with the bank that day about our car loan, and he'd said, well, we're kind of looking at, we'd like to get 2 vehicles. So we're looking at getting like a family car and like a farm truck. And they said, well, because of the type of loan you have, if you're going to get 2 cars, you have to get them on the exact same day at the same place. Like, we can't split up your loan. So we're like, oh, well, that's pretty much impossible. So I guess we're just going to have to go with 1 car and still be 1 car family. Well, the actual minivan we had come to test drive was amazing, like so good. It was the color I'd been hoping for. It was like this really pretty little blue color. And the inside was all of the colors I like. And like, the seats were so comfortable. And we've test driven a lot of minivans this week, and it was by far our favorite one we've test driven. It had all these features we were excited about. And it not only had 1 DVD player, it actually had 2 DVD players, like from the ceiling. It had all the storage on the ceiling, and it had storage under the floorboards. I've never seen anything like it. It was made in Germany, and it was, even though it was like older, like a 2011, it had all this technology that doesn't show up in American cars until about 2015. So it had like the USB cord and the Bluetooth. It had where like we can make phone calls on our car, which our other one can do. Anyway, and it had like all the air conditioning, the way the kids like it in the back, and all the windows in the back open, like with remotes in the front. It was really cool. It's Volkswagen. It's German made. I don't know. Way to go, Germany. It was awesome. And anyway, and this car was really awesome too. And I was like, Rob, I'm like, I think this is our car. I'm really leaning toward this van. I'm like, but like, you can't tell me Heavenly Father didn't put that little silver car there. That's our exact replica of our car. Like, that's exactly our car. I don't know how to choose between them. And he was like, well, how do we got both? I'm like, really? Well, I think we're going to get a farm truck. He's like, well, we do all the farm stuff with our Red Rocket right now. Like, why don't, we could just get this. It works, and it would be cheaper than repairing our other one. So anyway, we go into the dealership. They've closed. The guy wants to go home for the day, but he's being real patient, and he sits down with us, and he's like, well, what you think? And we're like, yeah, we like it. Might be trying to choose between the 2, and he's like, yeah, okay, well, but like, we were so quiet about it. I think he was like, yeah, we're not getting anything. And then I suddenly go, would there be a discount if we got both of them? He totally started choking. He was like, it was so funny. Like, it was just caught him so off guard. And he was like, yeah, I could definitely work a deal if you wanted to get both of them today. Yeah, okay. And he went into his computer, and he was like, boom, 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 boom. And he started knocking the price down on both of them. And Rob's just looking at me like, and he was like, honey, you totally haggled it down. So it was just awesome. We got on the phone with the bank, and we walked out of there now having 2 cars. And like, I'm paying half of what that 1 car we saw yesterday, the $20K car. We got 2 cars for the price of 1, and they were like way better. And we're actually excited about them. That was the other thing. We're like, oh, we're going to make all these car payments on something we're not excited about. And we were just like, oh, this was the replacement vehicle. Like, we really want to get from a place that has some kind of warranty. So, like, you don't drive off with a lemon and then you're stuck with it, And that was another thing this place offered. They had a 3-month warranty. Like, if anything's wrong with the car, we could bring it back. And anyway, it was just like all these little things, you guys. It was all the little things. or just like falling into place. So anyway, oh, and they had no dealership fees. That was the other thing. That was really nice. And it was crazy. This dealership had maybe 7 cars available. Like, it was a little like mom and pop shop, and where they buy cars at auction and then they flip them, and they make them better or whatever, or they buy directly from people. But they buy cars like that are in really good condition, fix up anything that needs fixing, but ones that have really been taken care of. And both of these, we got the CarMax reports printed out, and they've been like religiously taken care of through the years, as far as getting their oils changed and getting like all the repairs done at shops. And anyway, I think I was just floored, one, to find, because we loved the Honda Odyssey for the most part, and this was exactly like it. Like, the whole setup is the same, but it's like the luxury version of a Honda Odyssey. It's got a lot of upgrades to it. The seats are definitely like amazing. I mean, like, it's like Dad's recliner amazing. It's so good. Like, seats, it's like something you would sink down in to watch a movie into. So they're so good. Anyway, it just had all these like details. I'm sorry, I'm just so blown away. One, this car existed, and two, we were able to find it for like $14,000 less than a regular Honda Odyssey, and it was a little bit under current rates, but I think it was because they'd had it sitting there for like a month. And they don't make these cars, this type of van anymore, so nobody really knows about them, I think. So they're not in demand. I know that's like so small and not that big a deal, but like, it's one of those things where there were so many little small things that were awesome, so many small details that were taken care of, that we were like, this is Heavenly Father taking care of this. Like, this was his plan all along. Like, our car broke down last week because Heavenly Father knew there's no way we were like we had to be forced into a different car, right? we like drive our cars to the ground, and then we're like, oh, I guess we have to get a new one. And like, the timing of when that broke down, so we found these cars literally a week later when they're there in the lot, and cars are like flying off the lot constantly. There's ones we've looked at and they're gone a day or two later. And anyway, it was just, you guys, it was so many miracles, and it was so like, it was like we could finally see the big picture, and I'm literally getting my prayer answered and getting that new paint job on the car with the color I actually like, and all the upgrades we needed inside our car, we now have that. And we're paying way less than repairing our car. And then I was talking to him about doing a trade-in with our car, and he said, well, with a bad transmission, we wouldn't take it. And he was actually, we would take it, we'd sell it at auction, but I'm telling you, you're going to get more money for it if you, like, try and sell it through Facebook Marketplace. He goes, we give you probably maybe $300. If you go through Facebook Marketplace, I'm telling you, you're going to get $1,000 to $2,000 for that car. And I'm like, what? Because we just figured it was scrap metal at this point, and maybe it is, I don't know. But like, I don't know, just there was like all these little things where this was like the right dealership, and this was the right cars, and like two of the best cars we've seen all week after hours upon hours of shopping are at the same place, when we have a loan where we can only get it at the same place. Anyway, it was an amazing blessing. It's like payments we can handle just fine that aren't going to be stressful. Like, a payment for a $35,000 car would have been more stressful for us. And anyway, it just made me think. Like, I think we talked about, and I'm sorry because I haven't come in and listened for a long time, and I try and read when you guys write stuff. Like, I can do that, but I haven't been able to catch up. But I remember a while back there was a discussion on expect miracles, and it just made me really, really grateful, because there's been so many discouraging moments through this, and it just felt like it was also Heavenly Father teaching us, like, hey, do you see I've been in charge of this the whole time? Like, just trust that I have a plan and that I have something in store for you. And then it's that whole tender mercies talk, how everything works out at the last minute, and you're able to see the tender mercies of the Lord because of how it worked out. So anyway, sorry, that's so much detail. I'm sorry to bore you guys with that, but like really humbling and really, I like cried so many times on the way home. Plus Rob's heart. I think he's used to me crying by now, but I was just like, such a miracle. Like, it was such a miracle. So anyway, that's the miracle. I have named the cars. The last one was Red Rocket, so this one is going to be the Silver Bullet. And then the other one, the Blue Van, I told the kids I want to call it Madam Blueberry. You know, the VeggieTales or some character called that. And I just think it looks very like a mom car. It's like a mom van. It's like like light blue, dusky blue or something. And then, I don't know, it just looks like a mom car to me, Madam Blueberry. And the kids are like, I don't know, Emmy she's like, those are not the names I'd pick. Here's the names I want to use. And I said, listen, when you grow up and you get your own car, you can name it whatever you want. And I won't come in and say, I'm going to name your car for you because you named mine way back when. Let me name my cars what I want to name my cars. You can call your cars whatever you want. And she thought that was kind of funny. So anyway, oh, guys, just so grateful. So anyway, it was a good day for miracles.